Welcome to the Payne Theological Seminary Learn, Lead, Liberate Conversations. I am the Reverend Dr. Morne Meyer, a Payne alumnus, host for this special edition where I'll be interviewing a distinguished leader in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. So today we welcome the 120th elected and consecrated bishop of the AME Church, the Right Reverend Wilfred Jacobus Messiah, who will serve as the senior bishop of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. His leadership, vision, and commitment to ministry continue to inspire and shape the future of the church worldwide. Welcome, Bishop Messiah.
Thank you, Dr. Meyer. I'm glad to be part of this conversation. And I trust I will do justice to what you expect me to do.
I'm 100% you will. Bishop, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I'll kick right off with my first question today is, how does it feel to serve as the senior bishop of the AME Church? And what does this role mean to you personally and spiritually?
Well, to serve in this capacity is a very responsible role. But to me personally, it says that the African Methodist Episcopal Church remained true to its philosophy that they are a liberating church, and therefore they have right now, at this time of our history as a church, somebody from the global church, native South African, serving as the senior bishop of the church. And so we are indeed becoming a true global church.
Absolutely amazing. And what makes this interview so special? Well, for me personally, we are both South African. So I want to ask you, Bishop, as the first South African to ascend to this position, how has your culture, which is also my culture, your cultural background shaped your leadership within the AME Church?
Well, I grew up in a culture where I learned to endure hardship. I grew up, of course, under the apartheid regime in that era. And so that's one of the things I've learned, and I think it's good at this time. There are various things that the church face at this time in its history. But because I grew up in a culture where I learned how to struggle and not to take anything for granted, I can very well cope with the challenges that the church have at this stage.
Absolutely amazing.
To be part of it.
Amazing. Now, Bishop, I went through your profile and I read, and I was so not just amazed, but I really enjoyed, and I was really excited to see you were a Wilberforce University magna cum laude graduate and a Payne Theological Seminary cum laude graduate in 1982 and 1985. My question to you, Bishop, is, reflecting on your journey from Wilberforce University to now, what experiences stand out as pivotal in your development as a leader?
Well, I also had the privilege of being a seminary president when I was asked by the church to come back to South Africa to R.R. Wright School of Religion. And I always said to my students, don't just go through the school, let the school pass through you.
Wow.
for instance, with the way I graduated from Wilberforce University, I received several appointments and invitations to go to the Ivy League schools in America. But a bishop in the church told me, "You gonna pastor African American people, go to an African American school." And that's why I made the decision to go to Payne. And I allowed Payne Seminary to go through me. I sat in circles with people that graduate from the Ivy League schools, but I didn't sit back. I could contribute, and sometimes they were appalled at the kind of things I addressed, because I allowed seminary to go through me. And I could speak on various topics. Now it is really come to fruition, because I sit now on boards where people from various professions are present and speak, and I could be comfortable and address the issues of the day, even in those places. And I'm proud and happy that I came through Payne and Payne came through me.
Bishop, I like what you're saying, allowing seminary, and I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life, allowing seminary to run through you, and you don't run through seminary. That is absolutely amazing. And I know that Payne prides itself in the F-centric approach of seminary. So that is absolutely amazing. I have another question for you, Bishop. What are your top priorities as senior bishop, and how do you envision guiding the AME Church in this coming years?
I'm hoping we will never forget where we came from. Why Richard Allen, Absalom Jones, and the other comrades left the Methodist Episcopal Church. That we stayed true to who we are. We are a liberating people. And so I am endeavoring for us to stay true to our heritage, true to our traditions, but also move to the cutting edge of what happens in the world today, especially when it comes to technology, to climate change, that we be on a cutting edge of what takes place in our world today. And so I will endeavor in my tenure as the senior bishop to direct the church to be always on the front and not on the back. African Methodist Episcopal Church has always taught us to be leaders and not followers.
That's right. That's
and I
right.
hope I can inspire others to do so.
Oh, absolutely amazing. Now, Bishop, I also had the privilege to serve under your leadership as my bishop in the 15th Episcopal District, but you have served in numerous districts across Africa, not just in South Africa. How have these diverse experiences influenced your approach to ministry and church leadership?
There are, and most of the districts, aside from the 15th Episcopal District, I didn't even have a clue to the languages that is spoken in those districts. But I found it fascinating, and you will, I think my annual report to the church when I left the 20th Episcopal District that I was the first bishop of, I explained that it's less about language, it's less about culture, but it is about those principles that the Christian faith teaches us. And the primary one of that the faith teaches us is the one of love. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And if you have that agape love, you can serve anywhere in the world because you love God and you love God's creation and you love God's people. And so I was always willing to go wherever the church would send me. I was willing to go.
Bishop, you just dropped a sermon title in my spirit. Loves make the difference.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe that. Love is what makes the difference.
And Bishop,
I still believe.
Yes,
I'm listening.
Sorry.
I still believe that.
Go ahead, Bishop.
I still believe that if we have more love within the church, within our communities, there's so much that we can accomplish. You can do more through love, accomplish more through love than any way else. Sometimes we don't have the money that we need to have to do certain things, but I'm telling you, like you just said it, love is what makes the difference.
Yeah, love makes the difference. And talking about love, how do you see the AME Church as an institution contribute to the spiritual and social needs of communities across the globe, Africa and globally? How do you see us make that impact? How do you see us contributing to that spiritual and social needs?
In these days, meeting people's needs is most important. You can have the finest buildings, you can have the most educated clergy, but if you cannot meet the needs of the people in the community where you find yourself, you cannot make that difference. And it is especially important in these days when people lose their jobs and when people are bullied around in society. They need to know that at the church is a place of refuge. At the church, I can get my needs met. And so that's how we will make a difference in our society today, both in the continent of Africa or elsewhere where the AME Church exists.
Amen. I like that, Bishop. Now I'm going to let you take a quick trip down memory lane by asking you this question. Can you share with us a memorable moment or an achievement from your time as the presiding prelate in any one of the Episcopal district that you serve? Something that you remember that really stood out, or an achievement that you really want to highlight? I believe there's many, but
there are many. There are many. But let me just say, I was the proudest African the day at the closing of the 2024 General Conference, because rumors had it out that I would never become the senior bishop. But I was so proud of my church that they would not allow the naysayers to win. And when the senior bishop, the previous senior bishop, called me to the front of the end of the general conference, you could not find a prouder AME than this bishop. As late as last night, I looked at that tape again, and I put it on my website because I wanted every little boy, every little girl across the world to see that you can come from where you are and rise to the top in your institution that you love if you work at it. And so that was the highlight of my life. Of course, there are other highlights that I can talk about, but that was the epitome for me to become the senior bishop of a global institution.
I can concur with that, Bishop. That was for all of us a very special moment. For me as well, as a son from Cape Town, South Africa, from your home country and your hometown, that was also a moment. So thank you for sharing that with us. And we were talking about Payne Theological Seminary and education today. So I want to ask you, what role does education play in the growth and sustainability of the AME Church? And how do you, as senior bishop, and how do you, as a bishop and a prelate, hope to expand educational initiatives?
I had the privilege of serving on the Payne Seminary board of trustees for a while. And I tried to encourage young men and women. I talk to them constantly about pursuing further education. The reality is, education is not a static thing. Education is very dynamic. Things change. What was important yesterday may not be important tomorrow. We need to stay up on the developments in education. And so that is what I'm trying to do even now as a bishop, is to encourage young men and women, not only in the ministry, but in other areas, to get the best education, to get the latest education in all that they do, so that they can be the best that they can be in whatever profession they find themselves.
Thank you for that, Bishop. Now, I'm going to say it again. Magna cum laude at Wilberforce and cum laude at Payne talks about your educational journey. So my question is, as someone deeply rooted in both academic and pastoral work, how do you balance scholarship and ministry in your leadership role? Maybe to give advice to some young preachers like me out there, how do you balance those two components?
Well, I always say, and I've said it in some of my annual conferences to my preachers, you will not allow somebody to perform surgery on you that has not been to medical school, because he would botch it up.
That's right.
And in the same vein, we want our pastors to get the best education, because you are dealing with the souls of people. And in order to do the best job of developing people spiritually, you must be rooted spiritually and know that you know what you know.
That's right.
And so in my education, when I was in Wilberforce, when the guys go to the dance on Friday night in the Commons, I was in my room studying. When other guys went to parties, I was in the room reading a book because I wanted the best out of my education. And I thank God for it. I thank the AME Church because everything that I am, I got through the AME Church. It was the AME Church that educated me. And I will be forever grateful to this church.
Absolutely, absolutely. Bishop, now today and people who are watching this specific interview, there are many young clergy and future leaders in the AME Church. What is a message that you, as senior bishop, as a bishop in the church, do you have for young clergy and future leaders in the AME Church who aspire to follow in your footsteps? Is there a message that you'd like to share with this global church and our young leaders today?
I learned a new lesson. What God has for you is for you, but you can't sit back and wait for it. You got to every day work at it. Give it your best, give it your all. Don't be in a hurry and run ahead of God. Let God lead you to where He wants you to be. Can I say that again? Don't run ahead of God. Wait for God to lead you. And I have learned that, and I want to share that with most clergy person in the church. I have found some people are so ambitious, and there's nothing wrong with ambition. Don't get me wrong. You have to have ambition. But don't get so ambitious that you don't care what you do to get where you want to get.
That's true.
Work at it and go through. Don't trample on other people to get where you want to get. Trust God and let God lead you to where He wants you to be, not where you want to necessarily be. And take your time until you get there. If you wait for it,
go ahead, Bishop. Go ahead.
Longer, if you wait for it longer, the fruit tastes sweeter. So
I love that.
I want young clergy to be patient, and God will take them to where He wants them to be.
Absolutely. I want to say that. I just want to shout that from the rooftop. What God has for you is for you, but don't run ahead of God. Wait on God, and God will make sure, and God will work through that. I love that, Bishop. That is absolutely amazing. And I will take that as a young pastor, or younger pastor, as I say, and I will take that with me as well. Bishop, I have one more question for you. Um, Payne's motto is learn, lead, liberate. So it's learn, lead, liberate. What would that mean to you? What would the motto learn, lead, and liberate mean to you as the senior bishop?
And I think we touched on it before. In order to learn, don't just run through the school. Let the school run through you. Take time and spend time to learn. Participate in what the school offer, so you can get the best education while you're at the school. And once you have learned, you can go out there boldly, doing what you do. But ultimately, your education should be liberating. You can, for the rest of your life, remain in the dark. The education has to be liberating, and I trust that pastors all over the African Methodist Episcopal Church, irrespective of where they have received their education, will be liberated by what they have learned and seek to apply their knowledge in whatever ministry place they find themselves. So I'm
Thank you so
grateful
much, Bishop.
for what I've learned through Payne Theological Seminary and the years of ministry, what I have learned. And once you get the book knowledge, that's not the end of it. You got to get those experiences that you go through. It's sometimes more valuable than the book knowledge. As you get to apply the book knowledge, you learn new things from experience. And that's very valuable. It sets you free.
I like that. I like that, Bishop, because it is important that we can't lead if we didn't learn anything from our experience and our education. So that is absolutely amazing. If there's any last thing, Bishop, before I close this interview that you would like to share?
I am always available as long as I have breath in my body. I want the church to know I'm going to give my all every time I get an opportunity to serve God's people. I'm going to give it my all until God calls me home. Thank you very much to have this input. And if you need me, call me. I'll make myself available. God bless you. God bless the African Methodist Episcopal Church. And God bless the people of the African Methodist Episcopal Church.
Amen. Senior Bishop of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, Bishop Messiah, thank you for sharing your wisdom and experience and powerful insight with us today. Your journey and leadership continue to inspire the AME Church and beyond, and inspire young ministers like myself. And as we reflect on our conversation, your words remind us of the importance of faith, of service, and the transformative power of learning, leading, and liberating. We are truly grateful for your time and your unwavering commitment to ministry and to social justice. So on behalf of Payne Theological Seminary President, Dr. Michael Joseph Brown, and all who have tuned in, thank you again for being with us. May God continue to bless your leadership and the work that you do in the AME Church and in the world globally. To our audience, thank you for joining us for the special edition of Learn, Lead, Liberate Conversations. Stay connected with Payne Theological Seminary on all our social media outlets as we continue to engage in meaningful dialogue that will shape faith and leadership for the future. Until next time, I am the Reverend Dr. Morne Meyer. Take care and be blessed.
God bless you.
God bless you.